Let us find ourselves in ancient Constantinople as the day surrenders to evening, as the sun descends toward the waters of the Golden Horn and the Sea of Marmara, painting the sky in shades of rose and amber. This is a city that stands between two worlds, European and Asian, a bridge between continents, a crossroads of cultures and faiths. We are here simply to wander, to observe the gentle transition from day to night in this great city, letting the peace of this ancient capital settle over us like the evening breeze from the sea. Constantinople is built on 7 hills, like Rome before it, rising from the water's edge in terraces and slopes. The city walls are massive, triple fortifications of stone that have protected the city for centuries, rising high and imposing, towers spaced at regular intervals along their length. But inside these walls, life is peaceful and ordered. The streets busy with commerce and conversation, churches rising with their domes, catching the last light of day. We stand near the great church of Hagia Sophia, the Church of Holy Wisdom, its massive dome seeming to float above the city, a triumph of engineering and faith. The dome is covered in lead that gleams silver in the fading light, and around it smaller domes and half domes cascade down in perfect harmony. The church is so large, it creates its own presence, a landmark visible from anywhere in the city, from the water, from the hills, a constant reminder of the divine and the power of the empire that built it. As evening approaches, people are making their way toward the church for Vespers, the evening prayer service. They come from all directions, citizens of every class, their clothing marking their status and occupation. Wealthy merchants wear silk robes dyed in rich colours, purple and crimson, blue and gold. The silk brought along trade routes from distant China. Craftsmen wear simpler garments of wool and linen, practical and sturdy. Women cover their hair with veils or scarves, modest and elegant. We join the flow of people entering through the great bronze doors, passing from the bright evening light into the dim interior. The transition is dramatic. The space inside, vast and mysterious, lit by hundreds of oil lamps and candles whose flames flicker in the slight draughts. The light catches the gold mosaics that cover every surface, walls and ceilings, creating an atmosphere that seems to shimmer and glow as if the very air is made of gold. The mosaics depict Christ and the Virgin Mary, saints and angels, their faces serene and stylized, their robes flowing in golden folds, their halos shining. The figures seem to float in their golden backgrounds, existing in some eternal realm beyond time and space. The effect is overwhelming, designed to lift the soul from earthly concerns toward the divine, to create a sense of heaven made manifest on earth. The service begins, the priests chanting in Greek, their voices echoing in the vast space, rising up toward the dome high above. The liturgy is ancient and beautiful, the words carrying centuries of prayer, connecting this moment to countless others, stretching back through time. Incense is burned, the smoke rising in thick clouds, frankincense and myrrh, biblical fragrances that fill the church with their sweet, heavy scent. The congregation stands throughout the service, no pews or benches, everyone together in the space, rich and poor, young and old. They cross themselves in the Eastern manner, right to left, touching forehead and chest, shoulder to shoulder. They bow at the appropriate moments, following the rhythms of the liturgy, their devotion expressed through these physical gestures as much as through prayer. When the service concludes, people linger for a few moments, lighting candles before icons, kissing the painted surfaces with reverence, offering silent prayers for health and protection, for loved ones, living and dead. Then they make their way out into the evening, which has deepened while they were inside, the sky now purple and grey, the first stars appearing. We walk through the streets, descending toward the harbour districts, where the city's commercial heart beats strongest. The streets are paved with stone, smooth and worn, lined with buildings of brick and stone, 2 and 3 stories high. Their shops on the ground floor, living quarters above. The shops are closing for the evening, merchants securing their goods, sliding wooden shutters into place, sweeping the floors. The smell of baking bread drifts from a bakery, the loaves made fresh throughout the day, brown crusts and soft white interior, the basic sustenance of the city. There is a fish merchant packing away the last of his catch, silver fish from the Bosphorus and the Sea of Marmara, their scales catching the lamplight. A spice seller is carefully covering his goods, sacks of pepper and cinnamon, cardamom and cloves, precious commodities that flow through Constantinople from the east to the west. We pass a public fountain, one of hundreds throughout the city, fed by the great aqueducts that bring water from distant sources, ensuring the city never thirsts. The fountain is beautiful, carved marble with flowing water. People gathered around it, filling jugs and cups, washing their hands and faces, the water cold and pure. The sound of splashing water is constant and soothing, a reminder of the city's sophistication and its careful management of resources. The streets are lit now by oil lamps hung at intervals, creating pools of warm light in the gathering darkness. People move between these pools of light, appearing and disappearing, their conversations floating on the evening air. The language is primarily Greek, the common tongue of the empire, but we hear Latin as well, the old language of Rome, and Armenian and Arabic, Syrian and Hebrew. Constantinople being a cosmopolitan city where many peoples and tongues mingle. We make our way to a residential quarter, climbing one of the city's hills, the streets becoming narrower, more residential. Here the houses press close together, their courtyards hidden behind walls, their windows small and high. One house has its door open to the evening air, and we can see inside to where a family is gathering for their meal. The room is modest, but comfortable, its walls plastered and painted with simple patterns, its floor tiled in geometric designs. The furniture is sparse, a low table, some stools and cushions, a few chests for storage. Icons hang on the walls, religious images of saints and the Virgin, before which oil lamps burn constantly, small flames that never go out. The family sits around the table, parents and children, perhaps a grandparent, sharing their evening meal. There is bread, of course, torn and shared, the foundation of every meal. There is a stew of lentils and vegetables, thick and nourishing, flavored with onions and olive oil. There are olives themselves, small and dark, preserved in brine, their taste sharp and salty. There is cheese made from goats or sheep's milk, white and crumbly. Wine is mixed with water in a pitcher, the proper Roman fashion, never drunk unmixed except by barbarians. The meal is eaten with conversation, the sharing of the day's events, the father speaking of his work, the mother of household matters, the children of their lessons and games. The conversation is warm and familiar, punctuated by laughter, the easy communication of people who know each other deeply, who are bound by blood and affection. After the meal, the children are prepared for sleep. They are washed with water, warmed over the fire, their faces and hands scrubbed clean, their hair combed. They kneel before the family icons and say their prayers, asking for protection through the night, giving thanks for the day's blessings, remembering the departed in their petitions. Then they climb into bed, a simple wooden frame with rope supports, mattresses stuffed with wool or straw, covered with linen sheets and woolen blankets. The parents remain awake a while longer, tending to final tasks. The mother spins wool by lamplight, the spindle dropping and rising, the thread forming steadily, work that is never finished but always necessary. The father reads from a book, perhaps a religious text or a history, his finger following the lines, his lips moving slightly as he sounds out the words. Reading is a valued skill, not universal, but not rare either, literacy being more common in cities than in the countryside. Outside, the city is settling into its nighttime rhythms. The main streets remain lit and patrolled, the city guard making their rounds, ensuring safety and order. But the residential areas are growing quiet, doors being barred, shutters being closed, families retreating into the privacy of their homes. The sounds of the city at night are softer, more distant. The occasional bark of a dog, the call of the night watchman, footsteps echoing on stone. From the harbour comes the sound of water lapping against the sea walls, a constant, gentle rhythm. Ships are anchored for the night, their crews sleeping aboard or seeking entertainment in the taverns near the docks. The water is dark and mysterious, reflecting the lights of the city, the masts of ships rising like a forest of bare trees. We walk toward the sea walls, the great fortifications that protect the city from naval attack. The walls are thick and high, built of massive stone blocks, towers at intervals where guards maintain their watch. We climb to the top of the wall, looking out over the water toward the Asian shore, barely visible in the darkness, a line of deeper black against the sky. The breeze from the sea is cool and fresh, carrying the salt scent of the water, the smell of seaweed and fish, of tar from the ships, of the vastness of the sea itself. The breeze stirs our hair and clothes, pleasant after the warmth of the day, invigorating and cleansing. We turn and look back at the city, spread out below us in the darkness, pinpricks of light marking houses and streets, the great dome of Hagia Sophia, dark against the sky, but still somehow present, dominating the skyline even in darkness. The city is beautiful at night, mysterious and ancient, layer upon layer of history built upon this strategic site, Greek colony and Roman city, now the capital of the Byzantine Empire, the new Rome that continues the traditions of the old. The stars are emerging fully now, brilliant in the clear sky, the constellations familiar and strange at once, the same stars that have guided sailors and marked seasons since humans first looked up in wonder. The moon rises, nearly full, casting silver light over the water, creating a path of light that seems to lead away into the unknown, an invitation to journey, to explore, to wonder. But we are content to remain here, in this moment, in this place, simply observing and being present. We can feel the weight of history around us, the countless lives that have been lived in this city, the births and deaths, the joys and sorrows, the daily routines that continue regardless of empires rising and falling, of armies marching and retreating, of the great events that historians record. And beneath all that history, there is simply life, simple and immediate, the need for food and shelter, for safety and love, for meaning and connection. The families sleeping in their houses tonight are part of that eternal pattern, their lives both unique and universal, their concerns and hopes essentially the same as ours, despite the centuries between us. We can let that connection comfort us, the knowledge that we are part of something larger and more enduring than our individual lives, part of the great flow of human existence that continues through time, like a river, changing in its details, but constant in its essence. Sleep comes easily with such thoughts, the mind quieting, the body relaxing, the concerns of the day fading into insignificance. We can rest here in this ancient city under these ancient stars, knowing that countless others have rested here before us, that the city will continue long after we are gone, that there is comfort in continuity, in tradition, in the patterns that endure. The city breathes slowly, peacefully, the lights dimming one by one as lamps are extinguished and fires are banked. The churches stand dark and silent, their domes black against the sky, their mosaics invisible in the darkness, but no less present, their golden figures waiting patiently for dawn to reveal them once more. And we too can wait patiently, resting in the darkness, letting sleep come in its own time, natural and unhurried, drifting into dreams that might be of golden mosaics and marble fountains, of ships and sea walls, of bread and wine shared in lamplight, of all the beautiful and ordinary things that make up a life, a city, a civilization. The sea continues its eternal rhythm, waves against the shore, unchanging and constant. The city sleeps, held safe within its walls, and we sleep with it, part of this moment, part of this place, part of the great pattern of rest and renewal that sustains all living things. Rest between two worlds, between day and night, between earth and heaven.